clean up in aisle 5. You're gonna need tear gas, pepper spray, and assault gear just to listen to this show.
Sasquatch, the moon landing, UFOs, 9/11, flat earth, JFK. All of these things have one thing in common: unanswered questions. So let's get to the bottom of that.
Now here's something completely random.
Animals in action, animals in action.
Random.
We using that in the intro?
Thank you and good night!
Dice Man Enterprises exclusively presents a talk show that will get to the bottom of things once and for all. And now here's your host for Let's Get to the Bottom of That, a bunch of weirdos on a mic. Hello, my conspiracy nuts. You know who you are. This is Byron Dice. You're listening to Let's Get to the Bottom of That, probably the best show on the internet. Each week I'm joined by a bunch of weirdos. We cover topics that are left out in the public square, unattended and covered with questions from the official story. Today we're talking about Watergate. Welcome onto the mics, all the weirdos. Curtis, mic 2.
Howdy.
Jason, mic 3.
Let's go!
Joey's going to stay asleep for the episode. And
I did not have sex with that woman.
On mic 4. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us as we talk about Watergate today.
Watergate.
Yeah.
Richard Nixon.
It's an older story, but
Yeah.
it's something we need to discuss. We've never talked about it before.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all know this, but Curtis has had a hat on every episode that we've had him on. So, shout out.
Send me hats.
Listeners do that. Do we have an address? We don't have a P.O. box, do we?
Yeah, it's like 1941 Gettysburg Address or something like that.
I actually have a P.O.
Joey's
box.
on fire.
I'll get it over to you.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Should we just shout that out and let people send? Or,
Yeah,
or do you want stuff to show up in your...
Dude, you're going to get
stuff to
so
show.
many nude
Do you
photos.
want stuff? Sweet. I love that guy with a hat and the beard.
Well, they can't see my beard.
Oh, they can't?
There we go.
There it is.
I don't usually wear cowboy hats.
It looks righteous.
Someone send me a Boston Scally.
Do you want to throw the P.O. box out, or
I don't know.
Are you
right
just
now.
joking around?
No, I have one. I don't know. The
I mean,
address.
you want people to actually send you hats on the show?
Yeah.
Listeners?
Sure.
There
Man,
we
he
go.
really is demanding a lot.
He really
I am.
is. Like the listeners, send him a hat.
I still don't have any merch from the show.
Well, the only thing I got is this T-shirt. It's my uniform for the show.
Well, there you go.
I
It's
love
still
it,
on
dude.
me.
I don't know why I showed that because nobody can get it.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
What if it's
all
all
wrong?
Our fans that have been with us since the beginning know it. They
Oh
know
yeah.
What if
Oh
it's
yeah,
all
they
wrong.
know it.
Who know? Yeah, you're right. You're right.
All right, Watergate.
Well-
Richard Nixon.
No, but first we
Okay.
got to go over the question of the week. Last week's question of the week. I like the way Jason's like, let's talk about Watergate and get this thing over.
You got a
with.
lot of notes over there?
I have a lot of notes.
Dude, look
Do
at his
ya?
glasses.
Richard Nixon did it.
Last week's question of the week, if you're paying attention, the Canadian creature that was devolved from the form of a cannibalistic human
Justin Trudeau.
was which is known as a Wendigo.
Wendigo.
There you go. This question
It
of
rhymes
Do
with
you
Justin
know?
Trudeau.
Huh?
Do you know when to go?
I don't know when to go because I just went,
Okay.
and that's why I got a hole in this chair, so I can just hold on. Okay.
Dang, it's gonna be smelly in here.
Yeah. This week's question of the week. What is? Oh, I forgot. I want to stay consistent. And what am I doing here? This week's question of the week is: what is the code name of the informant that provided proof of the Watergate scandal?
Ooh.
I feel like that's going to come up in this episode.
Deep Throat.
Scroll down and answer the question. It
He's not
is
wrong.
number A is Old Scratchy.
Old Scratchy.
B, I said number A. Number B, Darth Maul.
Yeah.
C, Deep Throat. Wow. And D, the Smoking Man.
Or
There you
E, Fox Mulder.
Fox, yes. Hey, was there an episode of Watergate? That would be a good one.
Of Deep
Or
Throat?
I don't know.
Well, he was on Fox Mulder.
Deep
The
Throat
X-Files.
was?
Yeah, that was the dude that was giving him all the information for the shadowy government.
That was a Smoking Man.
Are you talking about the movie or are you talking about the guy?
Well, I'm talking about the guy. Well, no,
Hey.
I'm talking about Deep Throat in X-Files.
There's our next.
He was killed in the first episode, the last,
okay.
yeah,
that's right.
first
that's right.
season, last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His name is Deep Throat too?
His name, yeah, that was his code name.
But there's our next karaoke. It's 1 week by
What,
Bare
X?
Naked Ladies.
Who?
1 week by Bare Naked
Bare
Ladies.
Naked Ladies.
1 week since you looked at me.
Yeah.
Hey, he knows the song.
Yeah, I love Bare Naked Ladies.
Boom.
Okay, we
Do
got
you like the band or
Everybody loves Bare Naked Ladies.
the band or
Well,
Well, they're barely naked. So if you know the answer to this, go
My
ahead
jokes
and
suck.
vote. Yeah.
my jokes are terrible. I'll stop.
Well,
keep
we
on
all
going.
try.
You should go
I'm
back
done.
to sleep.
Yeah, I'm going.
Is there anything current events we need to go over this week?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I always ask that like there's going to be something.
There's a chance this may not air
Why?
Because we all
Because
died.
Watergate?
because we all died.
Because
Because this is going to be a week after
Oh, that's true.
the
The
election.
rapture.
No, this is
And the
2
rapture.
weeks after.
2 weeks.
This is 3 weeks. We're in the future.
Wait,
guys.
listen.
We don't know where we're at.
We'll just go ahead. Our recording date is 10/26. That's today. That's when we're recording this. Election is November 5th.
Yep.
I don't know when this episode's going to drop because it's in the pipeline for Joey because he's going to be on assignment.
Yep. I'm going
And,
to the Nepal.
So he wanted to go ahead and get a lot of episodes in the can so he could be on the show and talk about weird things.
So technically, you could say we're in the future right now.
Yeah.
That's true.
Whoa.
Let's
And
try to
I'm gonna
predict.
I'm going to predict it.
Okay, go ahead. So like somebody's
Trump-
listening to this
Trump
right now.
wins and then bows out and gives the presidency to Elon Musk.
Ooh, I like that theory.
Wait a minute. Can you do that? Is that constitutional?
Trump can.
No, I'm just
He can do
saying.
anything.
Is there like a
Apparently
loophole in
he's-
the Constitution that
He's
you can
like
do that?
Hitler now, apparently.
I don't know.
If you believe That's what they're saying.
Who knows, bro?
I wanted to quickly go over this story real quick before we get into the Watergate, because I know Jason loves my stories. There was a police discovered drugs in a bag, and the bag was labeled definitely not a bag full of drugs.
That's awesome.
There it is right there.
Huh.
So in that bag were drugs.
Definitely not a bag of
Definitely not a bag full, but they arrested her. The stash was discovered in Portland, Oregon, of course.
I thought it was all legal there.
Of course. They stopped a driver and a passenger and allegedly a stolen car. And here was the post from the precinct. Last night, a proactive police work from the East Precinct night shift officers resulted in the location of a stolen car in the area of Southeast 162 Division. There was a bag full of drugs, scales. That's important because you got to weigh this stuff right. Money and a loaded firearm. Driver and passenger was taken into custody. Multiple charges pending. And the picture was taken, and it said definitely not a bag full of drugs.
What kind of drugs?
Well, there was 10 grams of fentanyl.
There you go.
And
That's what it
meth was reportedly inside.
All right, there. That's, you can't have fentanyl.
Doesn't that track, though, in Oregon?
I thought it was all
In
legal.
Portland?
No, fentanyl's not legal, man. Fentanyl, meth's not legal. No, nowhere is fentanyl or meth legal.
Yeah, I saw like cops opening a bag and they're just passing out because it's so potent.
Yeah, it's extremely deadly.
The
So
pair are
even
facing
touching it will kill
drug
you.
possession and possession of a stolen
What's
vehicle.
going on your screen, bro?
cheeks out.
What's going on up there,
I
man?
didn't even notice until you pointed that out.
How
That's
could
crazy.
you miss that?
What is going on
I've
here?
been in that position before.
What happened? Oh, yeah, you talked about that with a glove?
and tape.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway, well, that's the story I wanted to go over. A bag full of drugs is definitely not a bag full of drugs.
Yes, never.
Really? When did you decide to start doing little?
I like it.
Do you?
Yeah, it's like kind of, little weird stories.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
you've
like
done it. You've done it for a while, but you don't always do it.
Right.
Yeah.
I had them up today, and I was like, I want to go over these stories because they're kind of funny.
I like them.
Okay.
So I need weird stories.
Joey, you need some cocaine over there,
Joey's-
man. You're young.
Dude, I mean, we're going to get to a
Dude, I
point
need
where we can't
some
even do
coca.
cocaine in this country.
Yeah, what a mess, man. Dude,
Why did the table just turn over?
Sorry.
I'll get a second win, bro.
Did you stay up late?
Oh, it's that time, bro. That's why.
Oh,
This is
301.
my crash time,
Yeah, it
dude.
is your crash time.
Well, speaking of crash, let's talk about Watergate. Well, let's just do high level real quick. Watergate is one of the most significant political scandals in U.S. history. That's a mouthful. Are we sure? It's the most significant? Researching this stuff,
I'd say one of the most.
I feel like this stuff is still going on today. This type of stuff.
This nefarious stuff.
Yeah. It's centered around the illegal activities conducted by members of President Richard Nixon's administration and their attempts to cover it up. Okay, so here's what happened. There's a break-in.
Set the scene.
We're in June 17th.
Okay.
It's a dark,
Deep in the
stormy night.
summer.
Hot.
1972. Location, Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C.
Got it.
I don't even know if that place is still there today. Can you look that up, Jamie?
Yeah, okay.
See if the Watergate complex is still there. The incident, there were 5 men. They were caught breaking into the offices. What were they doing? They were going to plant listening devices, and they were going to steal some documents.
Yep.
The burglars? Did I say that right?
Burglars.
Yes, the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C. is still standing.
Okay.
Well,
We should try to break
hang
in.
on. Hang on one second.
They had ties to the re-election
The way that they
campaign.
were found, it was like police were walking by and saw that the doors were taped. So then they cut the tape, and then they walked by again and they retaped the doors.
I thought it was because Forrest Gump was staying in the hotel across the way.
That
Could be
that
that
is
too.
true.
It could be
Didn't
that
he see
too.
somebody? He called somebody and said, "There's
He's
somebody
like,
over there."
They
with
must
some-
be looking for the lights
Yeah,
because they got
They
flashlights.
got flashlights.
Yeah.
No lights on. That's a good impression, by the way.
Thanks.
But it was a botched break-in.
Watch
it was
it every
terrible.
other
It
day.
was
Stupid.
really. Now, the cover-up is the White House involvement. Nixon's administration tried to distance itself from the break-in and orchestrated a cover-up, including paying hush money to the burglars.
Not burglars.
No, the Hamburglars.
Okay.
Hamburger.
Obstruction of justice.
Oh, they just
Senior
hungry.
White House officials, including Nixon, sought to impede investigations and instructed the FBI to halt its inquiries. This sounds like a thing that's played out today
Yep.
with the indictment of Trump.
Go on.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like, let's just make up some stuff and try to put him in jail. By the way, when is he going to get sentenced? Is that a because you get
Ongoing.
indicted? Aren't you supposed to have a?
I got indicted.
Aren't you supposed to have a hearing later where you get sentenced?
Well, if you're convicted, then you get.
Oh, so there's no
sentenced.
conviction.
I think he was convicted on 34 counts, but
Conviction,
yeah,
charged and convicted, but no sentence.
I guess. I'm sure his lawyers have some loophole
Have you guys
that they
heard
got it
anything?
tied up.
Mm-mm.
And then if he wins, he's going to give himself a presidential pardon.
Well,
or something,
sure.
You know.
I feel like you could pardon. I mean, isn't that kind of a cheat thing? It's kind of a cheat card, right? A cheat code. If you get in, I'm going to just pardon all my friends.
Uno reverse, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a felon. Yeah, but Uno reverse, I'm going to pardon myself.
Yeah. Which is actually, it's funny, later on in this, it happened.
You're right.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you've got notes anywhere that ties into what I'm talking about, please jump in. The I already said that.
Joey, come on, dude.
He's out of it, dude. I should put the camera on him.
I'm
Hold
like
on.
way back too. I'm like,
I'm gonna put the camera on Joey and talk.
Okay, do it.
yeah, God, all eyes on me, man.
Yeah, he's got the hoodie going.
Why don't you lick Bigfoot's foot again?
I'm not going to sleep. Man. I'm busy.
Okay, the roll of the tapes. Nixon's secret taping system. He recorded conversations in the Oval Office, which would later serve as crucial evidence. The smoking gun tape in 1972 recording, Nixon was heard discussing ways to use the CIA to block FBI investigations, directly linking him to the cover-up.
Caught red-handed.
Okay, so there's congressional and legal actions. The Senate Watergate Committee. There's always a committee,
Well, a committee for
You
the
know-
committee.
right? Hey, let's get together and let's talk about what happened. And then they do nothing. Investigations were launched in 1973 while televised hearings revealing the extent of the scandal. there was a special prosecutor named Archibald Cox.
Great name.
I'm just going to let that sit there for a minute.
His first name was Seymour?
Seymour Cox. Archibald.
Nickname.
He was the special prosecutor appointed to investigate leading to conflicts with Nixon.
What just happened there?
I don't know. There was a Saturday night massacre. October 20th, 1973. Nixon ordered the firing of special prosecutor Cox. What was his first name?
Seymour.
Seymour Cox. After he demanded access to the
Why did
tapes.
you just pronunciate his last name so loud?
Seymour Cox.
Anyway, continue.
How old
on.
are we?
I don't know, man.
13.
Listen,
I'm getting slap
I'm probably
happy.
I'm probably 12 because I always wear Marvel T-shirts with Spider-Man on it.
That's all right.
Get me off the mic. Just get me out of here.
You got anything to add to the show?
No, I don't. No, I do. I do.
Listen, when you're done, Byron, I'm going to tell you what really happened.
Yeah, I'll give you the official story. It was actually a Yeti went in there.
Yeah, and they got a
Oh, now
footprint.
he
Yeah.
flip-flopped his
They got a foot.
stance on the Yeti.
So here's the Saturday Night Massacre. October 20th, 1973, Nixon ordered the firing of Special Prosecutor Cox after he demanded access to the tapes. Attorney General Elliot Richardson and his deputy resigned rather than comply.
Was it an actual massacre?
I don't know why this thing is on here. Why is this a Saturday night? This is not
Shock and
Hitler.
awe. Shock and awe.
Shock and awe.
Well, that's what we need in our show.
There was a
It was like
public
the
outcry.
American
The
Night of the
action
Long Knives.
led to a surge in demands for impeachment. Impeach, impeach, impeach.
Yeah.
So what happened?
They impeached them.
Articles of impeachment. 1974, July, the House Judiciary Committee approved 3 articles of impeachment: obstruction of justice, abuse of power, and contempt of Congress.
Can't be a contempt in the Congress.
No. So, August 8th, 1974, facing most certain impeachment and removal from office, he became the
said,
first
to resign.
president to resign. I'm going to tap out because y'all got me.
Right.
Got me.
Here's the aftermath. Pardoning Nixon.
Good old Gerald Ford.
His successor, President Gerald Ford, pardoned Nixon in September 1974, sparking controversy but ending further legal consequences for him.
Awesome.
It's almost like, like I said, like a cheat code.
Yeah, dude.
Was Ford vice president?
I think so.
Is that
Yeah.
so? He just moved in.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to pardon.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, when this thing goes down, I'm going to go ahead and resign. But if they put me up on charges, I want you to do me a favor. Just give me a pardon. Get me out of here.
Yeah.
I got a couple of houses in the Hamptons.
Poconos.
You can have one. Impact on American politics. The scandal led to reforms aimed at increasing transparency in government. How's that working for us? Nada.
What happens?
Such as an Ethics in Government Act, and sparked widespread public
Oxymoron.
distrust and political leadership. So here's the legacy. Watergate, the media's role. Watergate underscored the importance of a free press in holding government accountable. Gate, as a suffix, the term Watergate has become shorthand for political scandals involving the abuse of power or corruption. And there was also a cultural shift. Watergate has left a lasting legacy on Americans' attitude toward government transparency and accountability. That is going on today.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it's gotten even worse.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's okay. The government's here.
We're here.
Everything's going to
be.
be fine.
We're here to protect. It's fine.
Now, unless somebody wants to go over some other gates, I'm going to go into a connection that a lot of people don't know about, which is Howard Hughes, which is a
okay,
billionaire.
so-
Let's go ahead and talk.
I just had a little insert real fast.
Go for it.
Okay, so the taping of Nixon. So I read that the audio tape of Nixon was in the Oval Office, and there was a secret audio recordings.
Yeah, I've seen that in a movie too.
So is that a conspiracy? Is that
a thing?
Is that a thing? And if so, I mean, what else are they recording?
Listen, I think they should.
The
have.
deep state. I mean, if that's the case, and there's the president and is not there. He's not the running. He
not
doesn't
the
run.
king.
Yeah, he's not running this country. It's the deep state. And who are these deep state figures? Who I don't know. Who know?
The cabal.
So there's a lot of whistleblowers that come out. You know, we've got Edward Snowden in our generation, but
Yeah.
you know, the anonymous source there, information was leaked by a source known as Deep Throat, later revealed to be FBI Associate Director Mark Felt. And I looked a little bit more up about Mark Felt. It said Mark Felt, also known as Deep Throat, was an associate director of the FBI during the Watergate scandal. He became the secret informant who provided crucial information to the Washington Post journalists Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein.
Heard that name.
Woodward.
Helping to uncover the Nixon administration's involvement in the scandal. So I looked up a couple key points about Mark Felt. William Mark Felt Sr. joined the FBI in 1942, rose high through the ranks to become associate director, the second highest position in the Bureau under Director J. Edgar Hoover. Role as Deep Throat, which I think he could have picked a better name.
Yeah, why that one?
What do you know
that-
why I chose that?
Why?
Well, because it was a popular porn movie in the 70s.
Exactly.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Deep Throat was a movie that
That's
was
hilarious.
super popular. The title says it all.
So he just really like.
Yeah, let's just. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll go back from there. Felt had a critical role in the FBI's investigation of the Watergate break-in. Frustrated with the Nixon administration's efforts to control or halt the investigation, Felt began to secretly meet with Bob Woodward to share the information. Known only as Deep Throat until his identity was revealed in 2005, Felt met Woodward in underground parking garages and communicated indirectly using a series of signals. For instance, Felt would mark specific pages in Woodward's copy of the New York Times to confirm or suggest meetings. Felt's motivations have been debated, with some arguing that he was driven by a commitment to justice and an opposition to the White House's obstruction, while others suggest personal frustration over being passed over for FBI director after Hoover's death. Felt's identity as Deep Throat remained one of the journalism's biggest mysteries for over 30 years. In 2005, Felt revealed his role in Vanity Fair article, co-written with his family while he was 91 years old. This was later confirmed by Woodward and Bernstein. So,
Wow.
I wonder
I feel
why
like-
the name Deep Throat.
and then
Was he just watching it? Call me
hey, what?
Hey,
what should we
listen,
call you?
I just saw this movie.
Joey's stuck on the name. He can't get past it.
Suddenly, I have a second wind.
Okay, so and then the impact of Felt's role. Felt's leaks highlighted the power of the press to hold government accountable and encouraging more to investigate the approach to journalism. And then Felt's decision to act as a whistleblower though controversial, played a crucial role in one of the most significant political scandals in American history. His contributions ultimately led to Nixon's resignation and reforms to prevent similar abuses of power.
Yeah.
Those are the notes I've got on Felt.
Because basically, the break-in happened. Nixon, I don't know if you have this, but Nixon was just like, oh, it was just some pranksters. it was a prank.
They're just, yeah.
And
What's this phone tap thing? What is
yeah,
that?
he's like, who knows? It's just, they were trying to blame it on like the Republican Party because he was running against, what was the name he was going up against? The Democratic nominee.
Yeah,
at the
it was,
time.
dang it. I ran across that.
Hang on, I'm
Pull
sure
it
I
up,
got it
Jamie.
somewhere. Sure.
Who was the Democratic candidate going against Nixon?
While you're looking for that,
Yeah. Talk to me.
there was a lot of stuff that came up about the Vietnam War. I like to look up, like especially in American history, like what was going on in the time.
Like what? Yeah, culturally,
Yeah.
what's
So,
going on? Yeah.
And I think a lot of that happens, like especially when we see like the smoke and mirrors crap that gets thrown up in front of us.
George McGovern.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
There you go. Okay.
okay.
While that stuff's getting thrown up in front of us, like what's actually happening, like when the media is reporting on this now, what's actually going on.
Is it
behind
smoke
the-
and mirrors?
Yeah, is it smoke and mirrors? So, but the issue,
that's a good
the
point.
Vietnam War was deeply unpopular at home, with widespread protests and opposition, particularly after events like the My Lai massacre and Kent State shootings. Nixon introduced, quote, Vietnamization, a strategy to gradually withdraw American troops and transfer combat roles to South Vietnamese forces. That sounds familiar. He also escalated bombings in Cambodia and Laos, which drew criticism. The war officially ended in 1973 with the Paris Peace Accords, but South Vietnam fell in 1975 after Nixon's resignation.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
It sounds like they were doing a lot of dirty tricks around that, the CIA specifically, because even in our Manson episode, that book, The Secret History of the 60s, he talks about the CIA's involvement over in Vietnam, how they were like massacring groups of people and trying to blame it on their Viet Cong or whatever it was, trying to make the CIA
agent
look
provocateurs.
good. Yep.
Plus, they were doing LSD experiments on the troops.
Yeah. This was a dark era of, I mean, it's probably still
Just
going on,
nasty.
but-
So it gets even worse, though. Like, so we had the civil rights movement going on at the time, too. So the civil rights
King,
movement,
Malcolm X.
yeah. So the civil rights movement continued with calls for equality in employment, education, and voting rights. Social issues such as women's liberation movement and environmental concerns were also gaining momentum. Nixon promoted policies like new federalism, advocating for more state control over welfare and desegregation efforts. He implemented affirmative action measures, but his approach was often cautious as he aimed to appeal to his, quote, silent majority of conservative voters. He also signed landmark environmental legislation, including creation of Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, in 1970 and the Clean Air Act. And then some of the economic challenges that were going on at the time, too, was the U.S. faced economic problems, including high inflation, unemployment, and a trade deficit partly due to the Vietnam War expenses. Nixon then implemented wage and price controls in 1971 to curb inflation, temporarily took the U.S. off the gold standard, and introduced the Nixon shock, leading to floating currency. These moves had mixed results, with inflation and unemployment remaining issues. And then, of course, we got the Watergate scandal, which is what we're talking about now, and that ended his administration. So I looked all that stuff up because I was like, wait a minute, if this...
What was really happening?
Yeah, what was really happening behind the scenes, and what was going on, because, maybe he did all this stuff, but it starts when I'm seeing all this stuff, these things were wildly unpopular that he was doing, and I'm not saying one way or the other that this did or didn't happen, but, like, you got to question, like, we see this kind of parallels to this stuff happening now, like where Trump is hated, he is, whatever, and then there's this, kangaroo court cabal, whatever, going on to try to crucify him so he can't become president again.
Yeah.
And
Are you saying that?
What else
Nixon-
is happening? Yeah.
yeah.
Are you saying that all this shadow government stuff going on tried to pin Nixon with this impeachment to get him out of the seat? Is that what you're...
Could be. I'm saying it could be. I'm not saying one way or the other because until we decided this, I had never even researched the 1970s and figured this stuff out.
It's interesting.
So, yeah, I mean...
because the burglary itself
Yeah.
was very strange. Like I said earlier,
With the tape. What
they
is that?
taped the door, then they taped it again. Like, oh, somebody cut it. We better do it again. It was like they were like, "Come in."
It's almost
come
like,
see
hey,
us."
we meant to get caught.
Yeah, and the only reason that it got people onto the trail is because originally Nixon, like he said, it was like a prank. It was a prank. I'm sure it was a prank, whatever. But they started looking into the fugitives themselves, and 4 of them were from Cuba, and one of them was like ex-CIA. Yeah.
The break-in
The
people.
break-in, the burglars. You're telling me someone that was ex-CIA
Here we go.
would have a shoddy break-in like that?
Well, here's what I think, Joey.
Very questionable.
Every time you see something that's really questionable, just like this, like when JFK got shot, right? When you see everything that happens, you're like, wow, that doesn't make sense. It's pun intended, shoddy, right? How the deep state does these specific.
Yeah, why is it so sloppy?
Yeah, why is it sloppy?
Purposely sloppy.
Purposely sloppy. Something that's recently what happened with Trump when he got the attempt on his life. that was a shoddy attempt. It was sloppy.
Yeah.
So when you see these, for whatever reason, maybe it is smoke and mirrors, maybe it is to throw off scent, maybe it is, but you see when there's an event that happens that is weird and doesn't seem right, it's always done in a way that's like, dude, the hell?
Yeah.
What's going on
Like
here?
I could do better than
Right.
that. I don't even
Like,
How did the 3 bullets come from the side out of the air and then ricochet? Why is there tape on the door?
yeah.
Why does this
Yeah,
guy
why is
have a
there-
ladder?
Yeah, why is he wearing glasses?
Right.
And he's got a sniper rifle.
So I get what you're saying. Like, is it when you ask Curtis, like, is that what are you implying? Are you implying that it's shadow government? Who knows? But there is something that's weird because the story doesn't make sense. Some of
Right.
it,
Yeah.
not all of it. Some of it.
Well, here's my,
I guess 3 of the 4 were ex-CIA. So most of them
So
were
4
ex-CIA.
what?
Yeah. Howard Hunt.
3 of them?
Yep. Howard Hunt, former CIA officer known for his involvement in covert operations. James McCord, ex-CIA officer and a security coordinator for the committee to re-elect the president. Frank Sturgis, another CIA operative with a background in anti-Castro activities, was part of the group involved in the break-in. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
he was known for his role.
Okay.
Sturgis specifically was known for his role in missions against covert missions against Fidel Castro in Cuba. And you're saying that guy would do a crappy break-in?
So the narrative was painted as just normal people breaking in
To wiretap.
and steal some documents. And
Sounds like smoke and mirrors to me.
It
well,
really does.
and
The more I
here's
think
what
about
I
it,
want to
I'm like,
ask now
yeah.
that Curtis has kind of given us a backdrop what was going on in the country. Nixon got in. Okay, so he's out in 74. When was he in office, and is he the one that sent the troops to Vietnam,
Let's see.
or was that war already going? And did he get into office after that was already going?
So
the conflict.
I mean, we shouldn't have been in Vietnam in the first place.
yeah, the Tonkin. Yeah,
It had nothing to do with us. The whole idea of spreading communism from Russia to the southeast Vietnam
Just-
was
yeah,
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
And if so, who cares? It's not our country. It doesn't matter.
right.
It doesn't matter. And if that's the case, then why aren't we doing that now?
Right.
If we were so obsessed with communism, why?
Why are we not? Yeah,
all right, so
Anyway, that's my rant on stupid Vietnam.
Thank you.
Nixon served as the 37th president of the United States from January 20th, 1969 to
69.
August 9th, 1974. But Nixon also served as vice president under Dwight D. Eisenhower from 53 to 61.
they're just all in.
And the Vietnam War began in the early 1950s.
What?
America's involvement began in the early 1950s, is what it said.
I thought that
we
was
did-
late
with
60s.
But we didn't have troops in the
deployment
ground. Yeah, we
of
didn't have
military advisors to
until
South
later.
Vietnam. The U.S. began more active in 1961, sending 11,000 military advisors to the
61.
country.
Okay.
The
So
U.S. launched an air war against North Vietnam in 1965 and committed ground troops to South Vietnam to fight the Viet Cong. The U.S. military presence peaked at 540,000 in 1969.
69. Okay, so this was something that he took over when his administration got.
It's
It
all
was
part-
already there.
It was all part of the Cold War. Vietnam, all this was part of the Cold War.
My notes, he was trying to get out of,
He was trying to pull.
out.
Hey,
of
let's
the
stop
war.
this thing.
Trying to. It was just wasn't going as fast as he wanted, according to my notes.
Well, it's not over. When we come back, we're going to talk about Howard Hughes, the eclectic billionaire, and his connection with Watergate. Be right back. Welcome back from the break. Thanks for sticking with us. We're talking about the Watergate scandal with President Nixon's administration and how he got
this music?
shipped out of
Yeah,
some
baby,
office.
yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Is that what it is?
yeah.
Groovy, baby. This is
Okay.
my favorite movie of all
behave.
time.
Yeah, baby. Let's talk about Howard Hughes real quick. Nobody really talks about this. They just talk about the break-in, the people that broke in, and how it was weird, and how
Yeah.
Nixon had to, I'm resigning, you're not going to catch me, and then he got pardoned.
Well, journalists kind of hit a dead end in their leads. You know, Deep Throat was giving them ways to go, but they ended up following the money, and that's ultimately what led them to this guy. But
So, I'm gonna quote J. Anthony Lucas, and this is his opinion, and this is what he's a journalist, and this is what he believes, and then I'll go over some talking points. J. Anthony Lucas believed that the Hughes connection, well, Nixon believed the Hughes connection could cost him the election, which it probably did. In 1972, Howard Hughes, if you don't know who Howard Hughes is, he's an eclectic billionaire. He had an indirect but notable connection to the Watergate scandal, mainly through his financial contributions and dealings, ultimately entangled the figures involved in the scandal. So he was a billionaire. I think he was an aviator.
He was in Hollywood. He was.
Yeah,
an
he was
aviator.
all
He
over
was
the
all over
place.
the place.
If you haven't seen the video movie,
Aviator.
The Aviator, it was
Oh,
actually
yeah, I've
pretty
seen
good.
that. It was
It's
pretty
great.
good.
DiCaprio.
In 1972, Howard Hughes paid Bebe Rebozo. Bebe Rebozo.
Baby Bozo.
Baby Bozo. Paid him $100,000 in 2 installments. And there's evidence that the money was used not only to furnish Nixon's Key Biscayne house. So there's a house that he owned in Key Biscayne.
Where's that at?
I don't know, look that up, Jamie. But also, the money went into several members of the Nixon family. Went into his brothers. Also, Rosemary Woods, which was Nixon's secretary from his days in Congress in 1951.
Key Biscayne, village in Key Biscayne, Florida.
So, yeah, so he had all these politicians have these huge houses and mansions somewhere where I want to live.
it's always in Florida.
What's going on?
Remember the Epstein episode?
Yeah.
That was in Florida.
Yeah, right down by Trump's house.
Mhm.
What? Okay.
Anyway,
There's evidence to indicate that the $100,000 was part of a quid pro quo to get the Justice Department to drop antitrust action against Hughes's acquisition of the Dunes Hotel in Las Vegas.
Money.
So already we got, hey, I'm paying you this money. Here's what I want you to do. Political favor. This is the reason. Here's the reason. Because we're always like, oh, they're trying to steal documents and plant bugs. The reason they broke into Watergate is to find out what Larry O'Brien knew about this $100,000 payment that was made to the Nixons.
Ooh.
Who is Larry O'Brien? Then he was the chairman of the Democratic Party. The reason they suspected Larry might know about this, when Larry finished his time as the chairman, he just finished a stint working for Howard Hughes as Howard Hughes's public relations consultant in Washington.
There we go. We got to the bottom of it. That's it. Case
So
closed.
they had very good reason to believe that O'Brien would know about this payment, but they needed to know how much he did know. So at the time of the break-in, well, see, here's not the conflict. He wasn't the chairman of the DNC while he's working for Hughes. So he had stopped his chairmanship. I'm a public relations consultant for Washington for Howard Hughes.
Right.
Whatever that means.
That's not a job.
What does that mean? I'm working for Howard Hughes.
But I'm consulting between the two
So,
because Howard Hughes needs to know what's going on in Washington.
well, I don't look, all these billionaires, this is how they get things done.
Yeah, they have their
They have political favors.
Yeah.
Hey, I need this pushed through Congress. I need this. I'm trying to make my business profitable and go further and further. You need to do this for me. And by the way, I got some photos of you and your orgies.
Right.
I
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh,
You
I
and Deep
keep.
Throat?
I always look for like the money behind what's going on, right? And so, especially with a massive war on that's wildly unpopular, but it keeps going. We don't know why we're there. I was who's profiting from this, and so I looked up who were the companies that profited the most from the Vietnam War.
No.
And we look at Lockheed Martin,
Raytheon,
General Dynamics, Boeing, and Northrop Grumman. And then I was like, well, were any of these guys involved in the Nixon administration? Just one guy came up. So, well, I mean, the first guy I decided to look at was David Packard. So David Packard became the 13th Deputy Secretary of Defense on January 24th, 1969. So well into it. He was Secretary of Defense, Melvin Laird's first deputy, and the first two deputy secretaries to serve during the first Nixon administration. So Packard, and this is where Hewlett-Packard comes from.
That guy.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. So Packard and Hewlett first partnered to manufacture electronic measurement instruments. With $538, the two men began their endeavor in Packard's garage in Palo Alto, California. So anyway, we can read this on. This is actually from history.defense.gov, the website. So I was reading down here, and it says President Nixon wanted to reduce military spending to increase funds for his domestic agenda. On several occasions, Packard balked at the president's or the office management and budget's desire to reduce the defense budget still further, arguing that a streamlined military meant it would be difficult to protect the security and safety of our people and would inhibit the United States from deploying ground forces in Asia, in the Mediterranean, or NATO if necessary.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
This goes back to what I was saying earlier about the military-industrial complex. The reason, I mean, this is a multifaceted issue and event that happened in the Watergate, right? Because you have Hughes that has his hands in it. You have Hewlett Packard that has his hands in it.
You've got all these airplane companies that are profiting from the Vietnam War.
Exactly. You have all these things going on. You have all these people having their hands on people's throats of why they needed this to happen or that to happen. And that is something that happens all the time when you see a major war break out with the United States and other countries. Going back to 9/11, Dick Cheney.
Oh.
Right? So this is not a new thing, and it's never going to stop.
Yeah, he owned companies that profited.
Yep. Yeah.
I think
Osama bin Laden, his family had strong ties to the Bush administration.
That's absolutely correct. We went over that. Yeah.
Anyway, I digress.
I think when we talked on that episode, wasn't his brother meeting with somebody that day
In D.C.?
Yes.
Anyway,
At a lunch.
yeah,
Well,
so-
the
What do you do?
oh, did you? What are you going to do? Well, what we're going to do is sit around these microphones and talk about it.
awareness.
Yeah, what can you do
we're
though?
raising awareness. You need to subscribe to our podcast so that
Just wait
yeah,
for the
that's right.
to
rapture.
raise awareness.
Yeah, just hold on.
Just hold on. God's coming back. Be all right. He might.
I
You
don't know
never
if I
know.
covered this, but Larry O'Brien was the Democratic National Committee. He was the chairman. Previously worked for Hughes. I mentioned that, and I already talked about it. So basically, it was a bribe.
Okay.
Basically, it was a bribe to Hughes's family. I want favors, and then Larry O'Brien worked for Hughes. And how much does he? And then Nixon caught wind of this. How much does Larry O'Brien know about this bribe?
Let's find out.
We need to break in to the hotel. Let's plant some bugs so we can listen in on them and steal some documents to see if there's anything laying around that indicates that Larry O'Brien knows about this bribe, because he could bury us with this stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Done deal.
Bob's your uncle.
What do you got? Bob, yeah, Bob is your uncle. Bob Cox.
Full circle.
I did
What do you
read
got?
I did read in that thing that Packard was also was the first to. Sorry, hold on just a second.
He's the first to pass.
Said
Deputy
his first
Secretary
name
of
was
Defense designated to
Cox
hold
Packard?
considerable investments with the Defense Department suppliers. In order to ensure confirmation, Packard turned over his Hewlett-Packard stock to a Bank of America managed trust during his tenure. So I'm not trying to crucify this guy, but it was just like, like I just started looking up like who could profit from this, and then it's like this is historical stuff that this guy actually he's a billionaire, whatever.
Yeah, the agendas.
Or I don't know if he was a billionaire, but there's an agenda there that could be there, and war profiteering has been clear back to. I think wasn't Schindler Schindler, he was trying to, like, he was saving people, and actually the Jewish nation declared him a righteous person. But
You talking about Liam Neeson?
yeah,
Schindler's
Liam
List?
Neeson's. Yeah, but they were trying to get him on war profiteering because he kept his place open and stuff like
the
that.
plan. They were,
Yeah, the
weren't they
plan.
making bullets?
Yeah, but I mean, when the powers that be decide to crucify somebody for, something like that, when his motives were true. Yeah, I'm not saying Nixon
He was
a saint
making mess
either.
kits. He said he'd never make something that would kill.
Yeah,
So he was making like plates and knives and stuff.
Oh, is that right?
yeah,
He wasn't making bullets?
and he just upped production
gotcha.
so that he could
Yeah.
hire more people, kind of thing. So, but yeah, I just kind of looking into that, and I'm sure this, like you said, this is a very complex issue. There's a lot going on in society at this time, and huge domestic changes, and then a wildly unpopular war that he inherited, and then who's obviously what you're talking about with Howard Hughes here. I think there's something to it. There might be something.
Oh, definitely.
It wasn't
Hey,
just the break-in.
so Howard, who mentioned all the airplane companies?
I did.
Was that Jason? You did?
No,
Yeah.
that's-
So was Howard Hughes, was he the owner of some of those?
I think he was the owner of Pan Am. I think. Let me see.
I mean, it goes back to, deep state activity has been happening since the dawn of time. I mean, you
Yeah.
go back to Abraham Lincoln when John Woodbury assassinated Abe, right?
Yeah.
So he was an American actor, right? He was a sympathizer for the Confederates. I mean, there's always been other people's agenda and then a plan, a conspiracy to happen following.
Right.
Yeah.
It says Howard Hughes owned a number of companies, including Hughes Aircraft Company, RKO Pictures, Sharp Hughes Tool Company, and Las Vegas Hotels and Casinos. So
that was the other connection too. The Dunes. Where he wanted favors. He wanted to. What was the deal with the? Hold on. Oh yeah. So he wanted to. That's what he wanted. The Justice Department was going against him. He wanted to drop antitrust
Oh, okay.
against his acquisition of Dunes Hotels.
What is
So
antitrust?
that's like I don't know. Look that up, Jamie. I always thought it was computer stuff.
Well, I think antitrust laws are. I thought they were like anti-monopoly stuff.
That's what I was kind of thinking. Like you own too much in Vegas right now. You own too many hotels, and we've got to
Yeah,
stop
it's
you.
monopolies. Prevent monopolies.
Oh, so
promote
that's why the
competition.
antitrust with Microsoft. They're trying to bust it
Antitrust
up.
laws are a set of state and federal laws that promote competition and protect consumers from unfair business practices. They are also known as competition laws. So it's like, I think, wasn't Microsoft hit with antitrust
Yeah, they
stuff?
were. I think they were trying to
And-
bust them up because they owned.
And then Bell Telephone was
Yeah,
the same thing.
Ma
That's why
Bell.
we got Southwestern Bell, Northern Bell, that kind of stuff.
Well, what's funny is they do all that to try to break them up, but then now they're the same thing today.
Well, they do it to
Right?
specific. They do it to specific corporations and companies. For example, antitrust should they what's it called right now? Sprint, T-Mobile.
Sprint,
Yeah.
When
yep,
T-Mobile,
Verizon.
when T-Mobile merged with Sprint.
Oh, yeah,
that
Sprint.
should never have happened.
Sprint's gone. You're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Disney's doing the same thing.
Disney's
Disney's buying up
everything.
all these companies.
But they're running them under like shell companies
Yeah.
that are like, oh, we don't own this. This is its own thing. But it was bought by, like, I think you got BlackRock. That's like a financial company that has
my
interest
God.
in like,
we should do an episode on BlackRock.
We should.
oh my gosh.
Turn the time.
Yeah, but actually, we should do another episode on how I don't think it was AT&T, but there was a telecom company that was they actually have NSA, like they basically have taps into all the data streams going through these buildings. So anyway, that's a whole different
Like
episode.
LifeLog.
Huh?
LifeLog.
Oh yeah, LifeLog. I believe they got their hands in all of it.
So
Well,
anyway,
What do you do?
follow the money.
yeah. What do you do? What do you do?
What do you do?
Joey's been checked out since we
Gotta
started.
love it.
Hey, it's Saturday and you gotta love it.
Yeah, listen. Well, that's the Watergate Hotel. It's all about bribery, cover-ups, and sometimes you don't know. A lot of times when you say Watergate, all you think about is, Nixon resigned.
I always think of Nixon saying, "I am not a criminal."
And it's it's about that and Deep Throat and Seymour Cox.
Yeah,
Man, the 60s.
Wild time.
well,
I'm
I mean,
telling you,
look,
dude.
like to the Cult series.
Sex,
Most
drug,
of that
and
stuff
rock
is
and
going
roll.
on in the 60s, except for Nexium.
Is that why they call them the baby boomers?
No, the baby boomers are called that because when the people came back from war,
II.
they just wanted to have tons of sex with their wives.
From Vietnam.
yeah, or no,
From
from
World
the
War
first,
II.
World
War II.
WW2.
So these were the baby
When they
boomers.
came back, no, my parents were baby boomers,
Oh, really?
which would make, you're right. Nixon would be a baby boomer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all the babies that were
Booming.
birthed and boomed from the people coming back and having sex with their wives, having lots of kids.
Yeah. But during the births, they had a big microphone in the room.
Right.
And it was called a boom mic.
Yes.
So baby boom.
Yeah.
And
And the doctor would say, "Boom,
It's
he's
a-
out."
Yeah.
They,
boom
they
it.
made a
And then-
boom boom.
and
With
that
the
happened
boom.
too. Yeah.
I
Anyway,
mean, that's what happened, though.
I rest my case.
We got to the bottom of that.
What? Yeah, Jason's got to know this one. I hope everybody enjoys our little karaoke. That bass. Load up on guns, bring your friends. It's fun to lose and to pretend she's overboard and self-assured. Oh no, I know a dirty word. Hello, 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 hello. When the lights out, it's like dangerous. Here we are now, entertainers. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertainers. Overload, alabino, a mosquito, motivito. Yeah. Hey. Yay! I think we should keep going with verse 2.
Yes. Absolutely. Keep on going. Keep on going.
I'm worse at what I do best, and for this gift I feel blessed. Our little group has always been and always will until the end. Hello, 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 when the lights out, it's so dangerous. Here we are now, entertainers. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertainers. I'm a lotto, an albino, a mosquito, my libido. Yeah. Hey. Yay.
Solo on a 90s song, bro.
Yeah, you gotta do the solo.
Solo on a 90s
See
song.
how they do it.
That solo is 90 seconds.
My libido. You know, that one sticks with me.
Oh, I say torpedo. You can say torpedo, gelato.
Yeah.
I was saying whatever.
Marmalade. Man, I feel like I taste blood. I was screaming.
But we have to.
Oh, it's coming back, dude. Keep
Oh,
Turn it up.
No,
turn
no,
it up,
God,
turn
do
it up.
not. Byron, do not.
And I forget.
Just why I did.
Oh yeah, I get.
oh wow, that was a good one. I've been wanting to do Teen Spirit for a while.
Yes.
I think it smells like Teen
Well, there's
Spirit in
water.
here.
Yeah, it probably does by now. It's getting ripe.
Yeah.
Well, you guys got any final thoughts on Watergate?
Follow the money.
Yeah, follow the money. Watch out for bribes. And remember, I know already this episode is dropped after the election, and I just have to say, elections are selections.
God be with us all.
Don't forget the question of the week. What is the code name of the informant that provided proof of the Watergate scandal? That's your question of the week. I think it's pretty appropriate for this episode.
I thought it was Sir
We should name
Boofer.
this episode.
Boofer.
Deep Throat.
Sir Boofs a lot.
Hey, what if we do that? Deep Throat.
We get a lot of hits.
Like on air.
Wow.
I think we got it.
Should we
That's
do
it.
that?
It's it.
That's it.
Done.
We should watch Deep Throat on air.
Whoa. Easy.
Is that what you're saying? 'Cause
No.
Hey, chill out, P. Diddy. Calm down.
Wow. Who brought the baby oil?
We got a pallet of it in the garage.
Anyway, you guys got any tape?
I got some black tape.
Prostate or two to check.
K-Wine, some gloves.
Nah, just some Vaseline will do it.
That's too thick for me.
Get a little menthol in that.
Make
Vaseline.
sure you visit our website if you haven't done so yet.
Anyway, skip forward 57 minutes.
Yeah, 57 minutes, bottomofthat.com. Check out our blogs, our show notes, our resource material, and you can find us on our social media. Please go to our social media and find us there. We put up clips, especially on TikTok. Join us there. You can just join us. Our handle is Bottom of That. Jason's got about 7 companies out there. 7 handles. Just Bottom of That. Just follow them all and give us some likes.
I've got
and
that
some
P.O.
views.
box.
Oh, you got it?
P.O. box.
You want to shoot that out?
Yeah. So if you want to send me a hat, send it to P.O. Box 324, Peculiar, Missouri 64078.
Okay.
They're gonna start
Just make
sending
it
you
good.
Anthrax.
Yeah.
No,
so
no lice.
Curtis wants a hat, so send it to him.
I want a hat.
He
Boston
wants
Scally.
to, he wants to wear one every episode. And
Yeah.
then when you can shout out where it came from, and that listener will be a part of the show.
I
Or
will,
we could play
I
a
will
fun
drop your
game.
name for sure.
We could play a fun game of like, what's been mailed to Curtis this week?
And we
they
could,
just-
and then just we'll feature it on the show.
and we'll just see what weird stuff.
Just
our
get a bunch
listeners
of
sent.
videos of the deep throat
oh
porn.
boy, here we go. Hey, if you didn't like this episode, I appreciate you hanging on. I know Watergate's a tough one, but I'm glad you hung in there. Hey, tune in next week. You might hear Jason say he wasn't ready.